What's up, vlog? It's me, Paul. Hey everyone, my name is Cameron Caffrey and welcome back to what I like to call the Cozy Corner on YouTube, where we like to discuss everything about film photography or cameras in general. I hope you guys have all been well. Firstly, I feel like I owe you guys an apology because I haven't uploaded onto this channel in about 2 months or so, okay? But I have a good reason. As you guys know, I'm currently in the Philippines, but I went back to the UK for the holidays or Christmas time and New Year's. So I went to London and then from London to Scotland back to London, and then all the way to Dubai, random, and then we went back to the Philippines where we are right now. It's been hectic, okay? Your boy's tired, but I do have some good news. Throughout all those travels, I also have still been recording, so you guys can expect a few videos lined up or to be uploaded within the next week or two. I mean that now. So long story short, we have about 3 to 4 videos coming onto this channel. I'll be locked into the editing cave throughout the next week or two. Yeah, just bear with me. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate the love you guys still show to this channel. Okay, so enough waffling, let's get into this video. When I recall some of my favorite memories from my late teenage years to early adult years, it's always usually just going on road trips with my closest friends. To be honest, these road trips would be incredibly spontaneous to the point where I'd be at bed at about 2 a.m. in the morning and then I get a text saying, hey man, we're outside. I look outside and there's like 4 of my mates in a car or a pickup truck and they're saying, hey, we're gonna go to this beach for like 2 days, you're coming. No questions asked, barely packing any clothes, and I was just like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And these road trips would lead us to some of the most random and like remote beaches in the Philippines where there was no signal at all. And just spending a night or two in that environment with your closest friends, it really does make for some beautiful memories. But fast forward a few years and the next thing you know, we are all very busy with our own lives, respectfully so. You know, we have our own businesses to take care of, our own work and careers to look out for. Some people are married now, which is wild. And life just gets busy, man. Before you know it, it's been about like 3 to 4 years since you last went on those type of trips. But my mates and I have been very fortunate to the point where late 2024 to basically until now, like early 2025, March 2025, we found a lot of us back in the Philippines at the same time, and we just had to make the most of a moment. And just like the good old days, I got a random message from my mate Paul saying, hey man, we're gonna go to a beach in Pangasinan in 2 days, are you coming? You already know. Unfortunately, a lot of our mates who used to come with us back in the day weren't able to attend this trip because they're still abroad or something else came up. But this trip consisted of 6 people, including myself, Paul, Nick, Jamie, Kyle, and Ivan. We hit the road to Pangasinan, which is about a 3-hour drive from Pampanga or Angeles, Pampanga, where we're from. As you know, these trips are very spontaneous, so nothing was planned, including our accommodation. We would just go there and we'll find a place to stay, which in retrospect is kind of dumb, but also very fun. I also knew that I wanted to take film photos for this trip, not only for the memories, but I thought it could be a cool video for you guys as well. And I decided to take my Vibe Photo 51F, which is my one and only point and shoot camera, mainly because I wanted to capture the essence of a real feeling of a road trip. I kind of wanted it to have the aesthetic, spontaneous road trip vibe, and that point and shoot was the best option, especially compared to like my Minolta Union or Canon A1, especially for a beach trip. I also used the Fujifilm 35mm film stock. Originally, I wanted to use Kodak Ultramax because I find that film stock to be what I like to call like the cheap man's Portra 400. It has a very nice balanced tones. It's not too warm or not too cold. It's just in the middle. But unfortunately, the shop that I was buying film from, it didn't have it at the time. There was a very lovely lady behind the desk who told me that Fuji is basically the exact same as Kodak Ultramax, or very similar, but I'll get into my thoughts more regarding that later. On the way to the beach, we stopped by to get some necessities such as like a grill. We bought some more seafood. Shouts out to Paul and Nick and Jamie because they actually marinated some steak the entire night before and it was lovely. I didn't do anything, I just came, but that steak, really good. After driving for an additional 2 hours just trying to find a place to stay, we finally came across a wonderful beach house in Pangasinan called Ophelia's Beach House. We were actually the only guests that night, and this was run by a very lovely lady. We arrived just before sunset, and after dropping our bags off and settling in, the very first thing we did, of course, was to start preparing some food. Now I went ahead and decided to be chef for the night, and for the night I mean like for the first 15 minutes until I caved in and started eating. But I cooked the majority of the steak. It was quite funny because Jamie, after I gave him some of the steak, he was like, hey, you like your steak kind of rare, huh? And I was like, what do you mean? And then he showed me it and he's like, it's cooked but it's a bit pink. But then I realized that it was because I was cooking under little to no light that I didn't notice how much I was actually cooking the steak. I thought it was like well done. Nah man, it was almost rare, but I'm sorry Jamie, I hope you still enjoyed it, mate. The sun went down fairly quickly after loading the film camera, so the first few shots of this roll were shot at nighttime, which of course heavily relied on the flash, which is also another reason why I use this point to shoot, because I don't have an external flash for my Minosa Unimat or Canon A1. Some of these photos turned out alright, and it was only alright if you were quite close to the object that you were shooting, for example this grill. But yeah, there's this photo of Jamie and one of his dogs that I took, and that came out alright because he was relatively close to me, but the rest of the night, not so much. The owner of the beach resort again was so sweet, and she offered to set up a bonfire for my mates and I at nighttime, and all we did that night basically was just sit around that bonfire in our bamboo chairs and catch up, because it feels like forever since we were last able to do something like this. But at the same time, and I think you guys can relate, when you start catching up with your old friends after a few years, you realize that like nothing, almost pretty much nothing has changed. I tried to capture the bonfire as well as all the guys in chairs surrounding the bonfire in one shot, and in order to do so I had to step back quite a bit because my point and shoot camera has a fixed focal length, and that's why pretty much all of the frames and all of the shots here were just stupidly underexposed. And I was quite surprised because this Vibe Photo 51F has a very strong flash. Like for example, we have this one selfie here with all of the guys looking tired, and that flash was so strong that after the photo was taken, all of us just screamed out in pain because our eyes hurt so much. And that's why I was so confident that this bonfire and other chairs will be captured by the flash, but no, it wasn't. So if you guys have a Vibe Photo point to shoot or any other point to shoot, just try to keep the distance of your camera and the object at a minimum. But yeah, the first night was just us catching up around that bonfire, having some nice talks, digesting our food. We didn't want to start swimming because night swimming is just dangerous, and to be fair, a lot of the guys fell asleep quite early just because we were so sleep deprived after leaving so early in the morning. And I thought I was going to sleep early, but then the next thing you know, Jamie, Nick and I are just talking at this Bahai Kuba until like 3 to 4 a.m. Very rarely do we get to do that, so it was definitely worth staying up that late for. The next morning, the other guys got up earlier than Nick, Jamie and I, and were actually already cooking and preparing breakfast. So by the time we all woke up, breakfast was already served, and it was crazy because I woke up, went outside, and I saw my mate Paul cooking breakfast right in front of a beach. Kai was hunting down crabs. It was like one of those moments that's like, wow, this is so cool. We are so grateful that we get to do this. Imagine just cooking breakfast in a beachfront and all of your guys are just like enjoying the moment, looking for crabs, taking photos of the scenery, and it was just like a very peaceful way to start the day.
Good morning, Cancer.
The food was lovely. It was like a mixture of leftovers from last night as well as just some fresh seafood as well. We ate that up and then had to digest, of course, before we went to go swimming. And I thought this was a great opportunity for me to walk around the property a bit more and to see if there are any cool photos that I can take. I quickly noticed what was like a steel part of a roof or roofing sheet, and it was just sitting down on the floor next to the Bahai Kubo, and I really loved how the light was hitting it, especially how it was surrounded by a lot of greenery and plants, and the way the light was hitting through those trees onto that steel sheet. I thought it looked really pretty, so I decided to capture a shot or two of that. And then looking at these photos again, talking about the film stock, of course it doesn't do it justice what I saw in real life, but looking at this film stock, just the raw photos of them, I was quite surprised at how green and how cold the tones were, or the hues were, just because it leans more into like the colder tones for sure compared to like Kodak Ultramax, which I think again is more balanced. It's not too cold, not too warm, but Fujifilm stocks definitely have like a more green overlay for sure, which makes sense because it's Fujifilm. But I would not compare it to Kodak Ultramax, like that lady who behind the counter was very sweet, but I don't think it's similar enough to Kodak Ultramax. But yeah, I'd say if you guys want Kodak Ultramax but can only get Fujifilm, then just beware of that difference. It's not a huge difference, it's not bad, it's just not what I was expecting. That's it. After capturing some more photos around the beach as well as the guys chilling in their bamboo chairs, it was now time to go swimming. I'll be real, I was very brave here because I decided to take my camera into the ocean itself because I knew just with the fixed focal length I could not get the photos that I actually wanted. Like the photos would just be really rubbish, you know. So I was like, it's worth taking this camera into the ocean. It's one of my cheaper cameras and I wouldn't be like devastated if this film gets ruined because it's not like a serious project, it's only for fun. So I decided to do so and I'm quite happy that I did because here are some of the photos. I thought I'd have better control there swimming in those waves with my camera just up in the air like this, but nope. As soon as that first one hit me, I started flying and then the second wave came and just got my camera all wet. But fortunately the camera was still good and no water actually went inside the camera. The one photo that really stood out to me during this swimming session was the one of the waves crashing into Jamie and we could only see his back. But I think this photo gives off like a really calm and relaxing feeling despite the waves assaulting him in real life. Jamie's brother Nick also said that he loves this photo because it looks like it could be an album cover, but at the same time I feel like if you just stick parental advisory on top of any other photo, it can be an album cover as well. So I forgot what the fixed shutter speed on the Vibe photo is. I think it's 1/120th of a second or 1/125th of a second. It has like a standard fixed shutter speed and it was cool to see how this shutter speed performed in the ocean because as you know the waves move relatively fast and with a slower shutter speed it gave like a very soft effect with the water. We went back to shore to just relax on the beach chairs again. We were just talking and sunbathing and over time a lot of the guys just got very tired and we're just like kind of low-key taking a nap on the beach chairs and I was the only one awake. And when I looked to my right where all the guys were, I saw that they were just all naturally like perfectly and symmetrically lined up for a photo. I loved how natural it looked and knowing that I didn't plan this photo or position them in any way. I didn't even tell them don't move or stay just like that just in case it may affect the photo. I just quickly picked up the camera, framed it as best as I could and snapped it as fast as possible and this turned out to be one of my favorite photos from the entire trip. It's quite funny because when I posted this online, I was talking to one of my other photographer and filmmaker friends and he was like, oh, you've got a good eye, you know, I'm placing them like that, telling them how to lay down. And I was like, I didn't do any of that. It just happened naturally. Like that was just God's gift to me for that one photo, you know? He was like, really? Because if you look at the photo again, the beach chairs were faced away from the ocean, which is very weird. And the only reason why I could think the chairs were positioned that way was just so that we can talk to the rest of the guys that were sitting at the beach house and we wouldn't have to turn our heads every now and then whilst we're talking to them. And that's the only reason why, really. Even that one towel that Jamie placed on top of his head wasn't planned. And I think besides them being aligned well for the photo, that one towel on his face is what makes the photo. Again, for this entire trip, I just really wanted to have like a very casual road trip approach when it comes to these photos. Kind of like, you know those Instagram reels where you just give a random person a film camera and they're like, oh, can you take photos of your trip? That's like kind of what I had in mind here. And not wanting to toot my own horn, but I feel like this photo here is very editorial and I can see this photo style being like a magazine of some sort, which is surprising because again it just was not what I was going for. As soon as I took that photo I knew I got a special one, so I probably like just said something out of excitement. The guys woke up, looked around and started talking amongst each other again, and that's when I wanted to take another photo, but this time with a different vibe, a different energy to it. And I took my sunglasses off, put it in front of a frame and then snapped another photo. Most people would prefer the first photo, but I actually like this one more, mainly because it has more character to it. I like how Jamie's laughing there and how his face is somewhat hidden. I have no clue why he was laughing, but his his face is somewhat hidden with the sunglasses. I like how Ivan is basically just readjusting his towel or his shirt over his face, and I caught that mid-motion. Paul's the exact same. Paul's just resting. I don't think he even woke up. We spent the rest of our afternoon just relaxing because we knew that we'd be leaving just before sunset, so we basically just spent around 24 hours at Ophelia's beach house, which was 100% worth it. I was actually talking to Paul and we were both saying how usually just a one-day beach trip usually feels bedin, or in English it's like it's not enough, but this one felt like it was enough. We showered, got ready, packed all of our stuff and said goodbye to the owner of Ophelia's beach house, who again is one of the sweetest ladies we encountered. She even gave us like free bananas and dessert, which I don't know the name of the dessert. I think I have a photo here. If you guys know it, please let me know and comment down below because it was so tasty. But yeah, she really did take care of us. So she's not sponsoring this video at all, but if you guys ever do find yourself in Pangasinan and need a place to stay, make sure you guys check out Ophelia's beach house. Scoot a little bit more to the left, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once we were in the car, I saw that I had like 3 to 4 frames left, and I was like, wait, this entire time I never got one shot in the car despite this being a road trip. And I was sat all the way at the back, which is perfect because I got everybody in frame and I got these 2 very similar shots here. And I really like how the red hat that was sitting on the headrest at the front seat, I believe it was Ivan's hat, it really made that photo pop, let alone Jameson's dog hanging out near the window there. There was also this somewhat tourist attraction on the way to the beach that we noticed, where it's like a staircase going into a balcony and it overlooks like the ocean and the surrounding buildings because we were on higher ground. And we were saying how on the way back we would basically just stop by there and take a photo. So we stuck to our word and stopped by there to take a group photo. I was the one taking a group photo. I actually wasn't in it. I didn't want it to be one of those photos that was like a selfie where I'm holding up the camera and everyone else is in the background. So I decided to just take a photo of all the guys there with the view. I didn't even take a photo of the view. I don't even know why. I just focused on my friends. So yeah, sorry for not getting a photo of the view for you guys. So it's just a photo of the guys, but I kind of like that because it kind of is just my POV of the trip. It's a good memory for me specifically. On the way downstairs, we saw a shop nearby selling calamansi juice, so we bought one, and I saw I had 1 frame left on my camera, and the lady who was selling the calamansi juice, she was very nice and very approachable. So as a joke, I was like, hey, come join us in this last photo, and all the guys were posing around her, and that was the very last photo of the trip. I love how this is the last photo because it just encapsulates our friend group and how random we are, and how really we just like making friends with random people that we come across and making them smile and laugh. This is a great example of that. What makes me laugh in this photo is just Kyle just in the corner like just like that. This was a fairly different video where the first priority wasn't the video itself but rather the trip, and I decided to just take you guys along with me. So apologies if it was a wee bit messy and all over the place, but I hope that you still enjoyed the video and the photos nonetheless. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Liking my videos tells YouTube that these videos are worth pushing out to newer audiences, so that would mean a lot if you do. Also follow me on Instagram at Caffrey Cameron because all the photos that you do see in these videos will first be posted on Instagram, and you guys can get a sneak peek on there of all the future videos to come. Lastly, I just want to end this video by saying that if you do have that one friend group that you grew up with and you have so many beautiful memories with, that you constantly laughed with, and you find yourself spending less time today because of life getting in the way, all of you living your own individual lives, which is completely understandable, but if you do find yourselves having the opportunity to set up a reunion even for a day or so, even for like a few hours, please go do it because it's so worth it. And you even think to yourself after, how did I go this long without seeing these people? It feels so good for the soul, and I feel like catching up with friends or loved ones should be way more of a priority in most of our lives today. But yeah, that's it. Please like, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in a week or 2, I promise, because I'm not traveling that much after next week, so it's time to edit. Bye bye.